Ethan stood at the window, staring out at the snowflakes dancing in the cold winter air. It had been a year since Mia moved away, and every day felt heavier without her. They had shared countless moments together in their small town, laughing at the coffee shop, hiking in the mountains, and talking about their dreams late into the night. Now, those memories felt like whispers from a distant past, fading away like the snow on the ground. Mia had moved to the city for a new job, and Ethan had supported her decision, even encouraging her to chase her dreams. But as the months passed, the distance between them grew. Their phone calls became less frequent, texts turned into short replies, and video chats felt awkward. Ethan missed her warmth, her laugh, and the way she always seemed to understand him. He felt a deep sadness in his chest, a longing for connection that he couldn't shake. Every time Ethan picked up his phone, he hesitated. What could he say? Hey, I miss you. It felt too simple, too vulnerable. He didn't want to burden her with his emotions. He wanted to be strong for her, to show her that he supported her new life. But the truth was, he felt lost without her. The world seemed dull and gray, and he often found himself daydreaming about the adventures they used to share. One snowy afternoon, Ethan decided to take a walk to clear his mind. The biting cold air stung his cheeks, but he welcomed the chill. As he walked through the quiet streets, he passed by their favorite cafe. The sight of it brought back memories of laughter and warmth, and he felt a pang of longing. He pushed open the door, hoping the familiar smell of coffee would lift his spirits. But as he sat alone at a table, the emptiness of his heart felt heavier than ever. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through old pictures of them together. There was Mia, smiling brightly with snowflakes in her hair. Another photo showed them at the top of a mountain, arms raised in victory after a long hike. Those moments seemed like treasures, but they also reminded him of how far apart they were. He sighed, feeling a mix of sadness and frustration. I should reach out, he thought. But what if she doesn't want to talk? What if she's too busy? Doubts clouded his mind, and he put his phone away. He finished his coffee and left the cafe, the weight of his loneliness pressing down on him. Days turned into weeks, and winter deepened. Ethan tried to distract himself with work and hobbies, but nothing filled the void Mia had left. He missed their late-night talks, sharing hopes and dreams, and the comfort of knowing she was just a short drive away. He wanted to reach out to reconnect, but the fear of rejection held him back. One evening, as the snow fell heavily outside, Ethan sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. He felt the familiar ache of loneliness, and just then, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Mia. His heart raced as he opened it. Hey, how are you? The message was simple, but it made him feel alive. He quickly typed back, I'm good. Just missing you. How's the city? They exchanged messages, and for a moment, it felt like old times. But as the conversation continued, Ethan sensed a distance in her words. She shared stories about her new friends and experiences, but it felt like she was speaking from a different world. He wished he could bridge that gap. That night, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling a mix of hope and sadness. I need to see her, he thought. The idea took root in his mind, growing stronger with each passing moment. He imagined surprising her, showing up at her door, and reminding her of the bond they shared. But how could he do that? The thought of traveling through the snow-filled mountains to reach her felt daunting, yet thrilling. The next day, he made a plan. He would visit Mia, no matter the weather. He packed a small bag with essentials, a warm jacket, snacks, and a few thoughtful gifts he had saved for her. As he prepared, excitement bubbled within him, pushing aside the fear that had held him back for so long. Early the next morning, Ethan set out. The blizzard had intensified overnight. Snow piled high on the roads, and the wind howled like a wild animal, but he was determined. With each step, he felt a sense of purpose. He thought of Mia, of her kindness and laughter, and it fueled his resolve. If he could just reach her, he could show her how much she meant to him. The journey was treacherous. The snow whipped around him, making it hard to see. He stumbled and fell, but he got back up, refusing to let the cold defeat him. He walked through the blizzard, driven by the hope of reconnecting with Mia. He imagined her smile when she saw him, and it pushed him forward. Hours passed, and just when he felt he might collapse, he saw a familiar outline in the distance, a small cabin, nestled among the trees. His heart raced as he approached, the warmth of hope flooding through him. He knocked on the door, and after a moment, it swung open. There stood Mia, her eyes wide with shock and joy. "Ethan!" she exclaimed, pulling him into a warm embrace. In that moment, all the distance and loneliness melted away. They stood together, both breathless from the surprise and the cold, but filled with a sense of belonging. They felt like home got as they stepped inside. Ethan knew this was just the beginning of rebuilding their connection. The blizzard outside raged on, but inside, their hearts were warm with the promise of a new chapter, a reminder that even in the darkest storms, hope and love could guide the way. The warmth of the cabin enveloped Ethan as he stepped inside, shaking off the snow that clung to his clothes. Mia stood before him, her eyes bright with surprise and joy, and for a moment, everything else melted away. The storm outside felt distant, like a bad dream. "Ethan, I can't believe you're here," she exclaimed, stepping back to take him in. Her smile lit up the room, and he felt his heart lift. It had been too long since he had seen that smile, and he had missed it more than he realized. "I know it's crazy, but I had to come," Ethan replied, his voice thick with emotion. "I was tired of feeling distant. I wanted to see you." Mia's expression softened, and she nodded as if she understood. "I've missed you too. It's hard being away from home, especially when you leave behind people you care about." They sat by the fire, and Mia poured them both hot cocoa. The rich chocolate warmed Ethan from the inside out, and with each sip, he felt the weight of loneliness begin to lift. As they talked about the blizzard and the challenges of life in the city, Ethan couldn't help but notice how much had changed. Mia seemed more confident, her stories filled with excitement about new adventures. But beneath the surface, he sensed a longing in her voice, a yearning for the connections she had left behind. "I've been thinking a lot about us," Ethan said cautiously, "about how close we used to be. I want that back. I want to be there for you, no matter how far apart we are." Mia looked down, stirring her cocoa. "I want that too, Ethan. But it's not easy. I feel like I'm losing touch with my old life, and I'm scared that we won't be the same again." Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "We can make it work. We just have to try. I don't want to lose you." His heart raced as he spoke. This was the moment he had dreamed of, a chance to reconnect and rebuild what had been lost. Mia looked up, her eyes meeting his. "You're right, we can try. I just don't know how." "Let's start small," he suggested. "We can have regular video calls, send each other little messages. I want to hear about your life in the city, and I want you to know what's happening here." A smile crept onto Mia's face, and it felt like a ray of sunshine breaking through. "The clouds, I'd like that. I'll send you pictures of my new adventures, and you can share your hikes and whatever else you're up to." They spent the rest of the evening reminiscing about their favorite memories, together hiking the trails, stargazing on summer nights, and sharing silly jokes. Each story brought laughter, but it also reminded them of the distance that had grown between them. Yet, as they talked, Ethan felt a sense of hope blooming in his heart. Maybe they could find their way back to each other. After a long night filled with laughter and stories, Ethan and Mia settled into the cozy living room, warmed by the fire's glow. "I can't believe how much I've missed this," Mia said, softly. "Just being here with you, talking like we used to." "Me too," Ethan replied. "I don't want it to end. We have to keep this going." Mia nodded, her expression serious. "Promise me we'll try. I don't want us to fade away. I want us to stand strong." "I promise," Ethan said, squeezing her hand reassuringly. As the night wore on, they made plans for the future. They decided to schedule a weekly call, and Ethan suggested visiting each other whenever possible. He would come to the city, and she could return home for the holidays. Each idea felt like a thread weaving them back together, slowly repairing the fabric of their friendship. The next morning, Ethan woke to the sound of snow still falling outside. He and Mia prepared breakfast together, laughing as they tried to flip pancakes. It felt so natural, like no time had passed at all. As they ate, Ethan couldn't help but feel grateful for the journey that had brought him to this moment. After breakfast, they bundled up and decided to venture outside. The world was covered in a thick blanket of snow, sparkling in the morning light. They walked through the winter wonderland, their boots crunching in the fresh snow. Ethan felt alive, surrounded by nature's beauty and Mia's laughter. "Make a snowman," Mia suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Okay, but I warn you, mine will be the best." Ethan joked, and they raced to gather snow. As they rolled the large snowballs, Ethan watched the snowflakes drift past the cabin window, each one unique, yet together forming a quiet blanket over the world. Mia was still asleep beside the fire, her face peaceful. The early morning was silent, except for the sound of the wind outside. Ethan sipped his coffee and thought about the last 2 days. For the first time in months, he felt hope. But a part of him was still worried. What would happen when he left? Would the distance between them grow again? He remembered when Mia first told him she was moving. She was excited, her eyes bright with dreams of city lights and new adventures. Ethan had tried to be happy for her, but his heart had sunk like a stone. He had said goodbye with a brave smile, promising they would always be friends. But as time passed, their calls became shorter and their messages less frequent. The laughter they once shared felt like a dream. Now, sitting in the cabin with Mia sleeping nearby, Ethan wondered if that distance had changed them forever. He wanted things to go back to how they were, but he also knew it wasn't possible. People change. Their lives take new paths. But did that mean old feelings had to fade? When Mia woke up, she found Ethan gazing out the window. She joined him, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Mia said softly. Ethan nodded. "It is. I forgot how peaceful the snow can be." They stood quietly for a moment, watching the world turn white. Then Mia spoke, her voice uncertain. "Do you ever wish things were different? That I hadn't moved?" Ethan hesitated. He didn't want to make her feel bad for chasing her dreams. But he also wanted to be honest. "Sometimes," he admitted, "I miss having you around. Things feel empty without you." Mia looked down. "I miss you too, Ethan. The city is exciting, but it can be lonely. Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in." Ethan's heart ached. He wanted to reach out and pull her close, to promise that she would always belong somewhere with him. But instead, he said, "Maybe we can find a new way to stay close, even if we're not in the same place." Mia smiled, though her eyes were sad. "I'd like that. I don't want to lose what we have." They spent the day together, exploring the woods behind the cabin, talking about old memories and new dreams. They laughed as they slipped on icy patches, helping each other up and dusting off the snow. For a while, it felt like nothing had changed. They were just Ethan and Mia, best friends on another adventure. But as evening came and the sky turned gray, Ethan's worries returned. He knew he couldn't stay forever. The storm was letting up, and soon he would have to go back to his own life. What if this visit was just a small break in the loneliness? What if, once he left, the distance between them grew even more? That night, after dinner, Ethan and Mia sat by the fire. The warmth made Ethan sleepy, but he didn't want the night to end. He wanted to hold on to every moment. Mia must have sensed his mood. She looked over and asked, "Are you okay?" Ethan nodded, but then he decided to be honest. "I'm scared," he said quietly. "I'm scared that when I go home, things will go back to how they were. We'll get busy, and we'll stop talking again. I don't want to lose you, Mia." Mia reached out and squeezed his hand. "We don't have to let that happen. We can make new traditions. Weekly calls, postcards, sharing pictures. We just have to try." Ethan looked into her eyes and saw the same hope shining there. He realized that even though he couldn't change the past or stop Mia from living her life, he could choose to fight for their friendship. He could choose to keep reaching out even when it was hard. The next morning, the snowstorm had passed. The world was calm. Ethan packed his bag, ready to return home. Mia walked him to the door, her cheeks red in the cold. They hugged for a long time, neither wanting to let go. "Promise me we'll keep in touch," Ethan whispered. "I promise," Mia replied. "No matter what." Ethan started the long walk back through the snow, but this time his heart felt lighter. Every step he took, he thought about the new ways he could stay close to Mia. He would write her letters, send her pictures of the mountains, and call her every week. Even if distance tried to pull them apart, he would not give up. As he walked, Ethan felt the cold wind on his face, but inside he was warm. He realized that hope wasn't just about wishing things were different. It was about fighting for what mattered. It was about choosing to reach out, again and again, no matter how hard it was. When he finally reached home, Ethan sat down at his desk and wrote a letter to Mia. He told her about his journey, about the hope he felt, and about his promise to always be there. He ended the letter with the words, "No matter how far apart we are, I'll always walk through any storm to find you." Ethan mailed the letter and felt a sense of peace. He knew there would still be lonely days, and that sometimes the distance would feel too much. But he also knew that he and Mia could face anything if they kept trying. Their friendship was worth every step, every effort, every walk through the snow. That night, as Ethan went to bed, he looked out at the snowy world and smiled. The blizzard had passed, but the hope in his heart was stronger than ever. He knew that, no matter what, he would always find a way to reconnect with Mia. Their story wasn't over. It was just beginning again. Asterisk. The weeks passed, and Ethan settled back into his routine. But life felt different. Each day he remembered his promise to Mia to stay connected no matter the distance. He made it a point to call her every Sunday evening, sharing his week's adventures and listening to her stories about life in the city. Their conversations grew deeper, filled with laughter and moments of silence that felt comfortable. One Sunday evening, Ethan called Mia, eager to hear her voice. "Hey, how was your week?" he asked, his heart light with anticipation. "It was good. I finally explored that art exhibit I told you about," Mia replied, her voice bright. "There were so many amazing pieces, and I thought of you. I wish you could have seen it." "Me too. You'll have to send me pictures," Ethan said, feeling a pang of longing. He wanted to be part of her life, even from afar. After a pause, Mia said, "Ethan, I've been thinking. I know we've been keeping in touch, but I really miss hanging out like we used to. What if I came back for a weekend?" We could go hiking and catch up in person. Ethan felt a rush of excitement. That sounds amazing. I'd love that. We can show Frosty the snowman we built. He joked, and they both laughed out as the days passed. Ethan prepared for Mia's visit. He planned their hike, checked the weather, and made sure to have everything ready. He wanted the weekend to be perfect, a chance to reconnect and strengthen their bond. Finally, the day arrived. Ethan woke up early, his heart racing with anticipation. He made pancakes, just like they used to do, and filled the cabin with the smell of coffee. The snow was still thick outside, but the sun peeked through the clouds, creating a beautiful winter day. When Mia arrived, she stepped into the cabin, bundled in her winter coat and scarf. "Ethan!" she exclaimed, her face lighting up with joy. They hugged tightly, and it felt like no time had passed between them. "I've missed you so much," Ethan said as he stepped back to look at her. "Me too." "It's so good to be back," Mia replied, her eyes sparkling. After breakfast, they set out for their hike. The world outside was a winter wonderland, with trees heavy with snow and the air crisp and fresh. As they walked, they talked about everything: new friends, dreams, and the changes in their lives. With each step, Ethan felt the distance between them shrink. "Do you remember the time we got lost on that trail?" Mia asked, laughing. "How could I forget? We ended up in that muddy field." Ethan chuckled. "I thought we'd never find our way back." They reminisced about their past adventures, and with every shared memory, Ethan felt a warmth growing inside him. It was as if they were building a bridge over the distance that had once seemed so vast. As they reached the top of the mountain, Ethan stopped to catch his breath. He looked out over the valley, the view breathtaking. "This is beautiful," he said, taking in the sight. Mia stood beside him, her hair blowing in the wind. "It really is," she agreed. "I missed this place. There's something about nature that makes everything feel right." They stood in silence for a moment, absorbing the beauty around them. Then Mia turned to Ethan, her expression serious. "I want to thank you for coming to find me when I was feeling lost. You didn't give up on me, even when it was hard." Ethan felt a warmth spread in his chest. "I'd do it again in a heartbeat. You're important to me, Mia. I realize that distance can't change how I feel. I want to be there for you, no matter where you are." Mia smiled, her eyes shining. "I want that too. I want us to keep building our friendship, even if we're apart." As they made their way back down the mountain, Ethan felt a renewed sense of hope. They discussed future plans. Mia could come back more often, and he could visit her in the city. They talked about road trips and adventures they still wanted to share. When they returned to the cabin, they made hot cocoa and settled in front of the fire. The warmth of the flames mirrored the warmth in their hearts. They talked late into the night, sharing dreams for the future and encouraging each other to chase after them. "Have you thought about what you want to do next?" Mia asked, her gaze steadied out. Ethan sighed, thinking about his dreams. "I want to travel more, explore new places. But more than that, I want to create something meaningful. Maybe start a blog to share my adventures." Mia's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. You have so many stories to tell." The days after Mia's visit passed slowly for Ethan. The cabin felt quieter than before, and the laughter from their weekend together echoed in his mind. He missed her company, the way she listened so closely, and how she made every small moment brighter. Though they had promised to stay connected, Ethan still worried that the distance between them might grow again. One evening, Ethan sat at his desk, staring at his phone. The urge to call Mia was strong, but he didn't want to seem needy or interrupt her busy life in the city. He picked up a pen instead and wrote her a letter on a sheet of simple white paper. "Dear Mia," he wrote, "I hope you got home safely and that the city is treating you well. I keep thinking about our hike and the snowman we built. It feels strange here without you. I know we both have our own dreams and lives, but I want you to know how much your friendship means to me. No matter what, I'm cheering you on from. Here, Ethan. He folded the letter and slipped it into an envelope, writing her new address on the front. As he placed it in the mailbox, Ethan felt a little lighter. Maybe this was a new way to reach out to show Mia she was still important to him, even from far away. A week later, he received a letter back. The envelope was decorated with little doodles of snowflakes and stars. Inside, Mia wrote, "Dear Ethan, your letter made my day. I miss you too. Work has been a little stressful, but your words reminded me of home and of all the things I love. I hung up a picture of our snowman on my wall to make me smile. Thank you for being such a good friend, even across the miles. Let's keep writing." Mia, Ethan smiled as he read her words. The world felt a little smaller, and his heart felt a little fuller. They started exchanging letters every week, sharing stories, photos, and dreams. Mia sent pictures of the city's tall buildings, busy streets, and the small parks she liked to visit. Ethan sent photos of the snowy mountains, the old cafe, and the sunsets from his porch dock. Sometimes Ethan still felt sad. There were days when he wished Mia could be there in person, laughing with him or joining him on his hikes. Sometimes he missed her so much it hurt. But every letter from Mia was like a small spark of hope, reminding him that their friendship was still alive. One evening, while walking through the snowy woods behind his cabin, Ethan thought about all the ways he and Mia had changed. He realized that growing up meant facing new challenges and sometimes feeling lost. But it also meant finding new ways to stay close to the people who matter. He felt proud of himself for not giving up and proud of Mia for chasing her dreams. Few weeks later, Ethan received a special package in the mail from Mia. Inside was a soft, hand-knitted scarf in blue and white, his favorite colors. There was also a note. "I made this for you, so you can stay warm on your hikes. I hope it feels like a hug from your friend in the city." Ethan wrapped the scarf around his neck and felt a surge of warmth. He realized that even though he and Mia were far apart, their friendship was growing in new and wonderful ways. Inspired by Mia's kindness, Ethan decided to start the blog he had talked about. He wrote about his hikes, the beauty of the mountains, and the importance of staying hopeful even when things felt lonely. He shared stories of his friendship with Mia and how their letters kept him going through tough days. To his surprise, people from all over started reading his blog and sending him messages of encouragement. Some shared their own stories of missing friends or family far away. Others thanked Ethan for reminding them that hope could shine through even the darkest winters. One night, after reading a message from a reader in another country, Ethan picked up his phone and called Mia. "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for believing in me," he said. "The blog is taking off, and I couldn't have done it without your support." Mia's voice was full of happiness. "I'm so proud of you, Ethan. See? I knew you could do it. You're inspiring people just by sharing your story." Ethan felt a deep sense of connection, stronger than before. "We're inspiring people," he replied. "This wouldn't be possible without you." They talked for a long time, sharing dreams for the future. Mia told Ethan about her photography class, and he promised to send her more pictures for inspiration. They made plans for Mia's next visit and dreamt about a road trip they could take together one day. After the call ended, Ethan sat by the window, looking out at the snow. The world was still and quiet, but inside he felt alive with hope. He realized that distance didn't have to mean the end of something special. It could be the beginning of something new, stronger, deeper, and full of possibility. He wrote in his blog that night, "Sometimes the people we care about move away, and it hurts. But if we keep reaching out, if we keep sharing our hearts, we can build bridges over any distance. No storm is too strong for hope. As Ethan finished typing, he looked at the scarf around his neck and smiled. Mia's friendship was a light in the winter, guiding him forward, giving him strength to face any blizzard life might send his way. And he knew no matter how far apart they were, their connection would always find a way to shine through. Hope and determination, Ethan continued his journey, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that true friendship could weather any storm. Spring began to melt away the winter's chill, and with it, Ethan felt a shift in his heart. The world outside his cabin was waking up. The snow was slowly disappearing, revealing patches of green grass and budding flowers. For the first time in months, he felt the urge to step outside and embrace the new season. He had been busy with his blog, sharing stories about his experiences and how he had reconnected with Mia. With every post, he received more messages from readers, encouraging him to keep sharing his journey. But despite his growing audience, Ethan still felt a longing for Mia. He missed her laughter, her smile, and the way she made everything feel brighter. One evening, after finishing a blog post, Ethan decided to call Mia. They hadn't talked in a while, and he felt it was time to catch up. He dialed her number, his heart racing a little with anticipation. "Hey, Ethan." Mia's voice was warm and cheerful, and it instantly made him feel better. "Hi, Mia. How are you?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. "I'm good. Just busy with my photography class. We went on a field trip to the park last week, and I took some amazing pictures," she replied excitedly. "I can't wait to see them." "You have to send me some," Ethan said, picturing Mia surrounded by flowers and trees. Her camera in hand. As they talked, Ethan felt the distance between them start to close once again. They shared stories about their lives, the challenges they faced, and the triumphs they celebrated. Mia told him about a project she was working on, capturing the beauty of the city in spring. Ethan shared his plans for a hiking trip to a nearby national park. "Maybe we could go together someday," Ethan suggested. "You could take pictures, and I could show you the best trails." "I would love that," Mia replied, her voice full of excitement. "Let's make it happen." After their call ended, Ethan felt a surge of hope. He realized that even though they were apart, they could still make plans for the future. They could create new memories together, even if it meant traveling to different places. Inspired by their conversation, Ethan decided to take action. He wanted to plan a road trip for the two of them. He spent the next few days researching beautiful hiking spots, scenic routes, and places where they could camp under the stars. He wanted it to be a special adventure, a chance to reconnect and deepen their friendship. Once he had a plan, he called Mia again. "How about we take a road trip this summer?" he proposed. "We can visit some amazing parks and explore together." Mia's enthusiasm was infectious. "That sounds incredible. I'm in. I can't wait to take photos of everything." Ethan felt a rush of excitement. They made a list of places to visit and discussed what they would need for the trip. The more they planned, the more Ethan felt a sense of purpose. This road trip would be their adventure, a chance to strengthen their bond and make new memories. As summer approached, Ethan and Mia kept in touch regularly. They shared their preparations for the trip, each sending little surprises to the other. Mia sent Ethan a new camera strap she designed, and Ethan sent her a guidebook about the national parks they planned to visit. Each gift reminded them that they were still connected, despite the miles. Finally, the day of their road trip arrived. Ethan packed his car with camping gear, snacks, and a carefully planned route. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This trip felt significant. It was a chance to reconnect in person and build a new chapter in their friendship. When Mia arrived, she was bursting with energy. She hopped into the passenger seat, her camera ready. "Are you ready for an adventure?" she asked, grinning. "Always," Ethan replied, feeling a wave of joy wash over him. They hit the road, the sun shining brightly above them. As they drove, they sang along to their favorite songs, reminiscing about old memories and laughing at inside jokes. The miles melted away, and with each passing moment, Ethan felt the distance between them disappear. Their first stop was a beautiful national park known for its stunning views and hiking trails. As they arrived, Ethan parked the car and they stepped out, taking in the fresh air and breathtaking scenery. "Wow, this is amazing," Mia exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. She raised her camera, capturing every angle of the landscape. Ethan smiled, watching her. "It's even better in person, right?"